Hi. Welcome to Spoiler Lab. A girl finds herself trapped on a high-tech island, where she must undergo a process of re-education. While trying to escape from her confinement, she learns a terrifying secret. Today we will recap the story of the 2019 movie Paradise Hills. In a luxurious palace, an upper-class young couple celebrates their wedding. All the attention of the guests is focused on the enchanting bride Uma, who performs a romantic song for her fiancé son. At the end of the performance, the girl's mother accepts congratulations and admiration from the guests for her daughter's exemplary upbringing. A woman approaches Uma and informs her that her husband is already waiting for her to perform his marital duties. Receiving a nod of approval from her mother, the girl obediently goes upstairs to her bedroom. SN finds her beloved waiting in the bedroom bed. Holding her on the bed, the young man notes with pleasure how much more obedient and obliging she has become. A couple of months earlier, Uma wakes up in an unusual room decorated like a meadow. She examines her hands and clothes, which are smeared with earth. With surprise, she tries to call for help and is answered by a woman's voice coming from a bronze rose. The voice tells Uma that she is in a place called Paradise. At that moment, two guys in white suits enter the room and kneel down in front of her, offering her a breakfast of fresh fruit. Uma smiles sweetly and then runs away from her captors. Running across the grounds of the strange establishment, she finds herself on the edge of a cliff. Descending down to the shore, the girl finds shelter in a cliff. There she meets another young girl who smokes a cigarette. She promises to help Uma get rid of the chaser, but she herself takes her right into the hands of the guards. The girl is led through a rose alley where other girls her age are playing and having fun. They are all dressed in white robes styled after the dresses of the noble ladies of the Age of Enlightenment. Soon Uma is led to a pleasant woman who introduces herself as the Duchess. She explains to her new ward that Paradise Island is a treatment center for rebellious upper-class girls. Uma's mother sent her here for a 2-month course of re-education after she turned down a lucrative marriage. Despite the strangeness of the place, what happens next is even stranger. Later, the girl is placed in a pink room, where she meets the other newcomers to the boarding house. An exuberant girl named Chloe happily greets her roommate. She, too, was sent here by her parents in the hope that the girl could lose weight to size S. However, Chloe herself likes her shape and sees life in paradise as a vacation. Unlike the sullen Yu, who is clearly unhappy with her stay on the isolated island. In the evening, the girls are dressed in white dresses with puffy skirts and invited to dinner outdoors. The atmosphere is reminiscent of a royal reception, in stark contrast to the high-tech island. The girls are brought individual dishes and poured a cup of milk each. Yu complains of lactose intolerance, but the boarding house staff is quick to recognize her lies. Uma notices the girl from the cave at a nearby table, who looks in her direction with interest. The neighbors tell her that she is Amarna, a famous singer who is rumored to have been admitted to the boarding house because of her drinking problems. After dinner, the girls meet in the restroom, where Amarna explains the reason for her actions. The cave is the only place the guards don't know about, and she didn't want the hideout to be exposed. The singer tells her new acquaintance that a record label had tricked her into going to the island. The producers refused to release the song she wrote herself and made up a story about alcoholism to put her in rehab. Uma is surprised that the girl hasn't tried to escape her confinement, but Amarna doesn't understand why you would run away from an island where you are constantly fed, given beautiful outfits, and given yoga classes. However, Uma doesn't want to be held hostage by a boarding house of noble maidens and suggests that her new acquaintance leave the island that very night after lights out. Amarna likes her friend's rebellious disposition and agrees to the adventure, kissing her tenderly on the cheek for goodbye. In her bed, Uma patiently waits for her roommates to fall asleep so she can go meet Amarna, but her eyes slowly shut and soon she too sinks into a world of dreams. In the morning, the girls wake up to a cheerful melody and a female voice greeting them with their first day at the treatment center. Yu puts on headphones so she doesn't have to hear the luscious voice. Later in the dressing room, Amarna helps her friend tie her corset and says she fell asleep and couldn't make the appointment. Uma confesses that she, too, fell asleep suddenly and slept soundly through the night. These are the first uncanny oddities that happen to the main character. The girls are summoned by the boarding house staff and shown new personas that they will have to reincarnate into. On the screen, Uma sees her reflection with light pink hair, neat girlish makeup and hairstyle. This image would be ideal in her mother's eyes, but it is not her own. Noticing her friend's worries, Amarna tells her that she shouldn't change for someone else. Nevertheless, the girls embark on the process of transformation. Yu gets rid of her green hair, Chloe changes her long curls into a braid, and Uma turns into a doll-faced model. The girls can't help feeling that they're trying to turn them into completely different people. Following a beauty salon, Uma is taken to the Duchess garden for a therapeutic one-on-one conversation. The girl has no intention of confiding her feelings to the principal and tells her that she considers the boarding house a concentration camp. The woman ignores the girl's outbursts and affectionately offers to tell her about her real identity. Uma calms down and agrees to answer the Duchess' questions. When talking about her mother, however, the girl again demonstrates her rebellious nature. She refuses to follow her wishes and marry based on convenience. Unwilling to continue the conversation, the girl runs away. Later, the girls gather in the fitness room to keep fit. The trainer instructs them to divide into pairs, and Uma beckons you, who has been listening to music on her headphones for the entire class, to join her. Rocking from side to side on her sleeping mat, the pink-haired girl suddenly hears voices behind the wall of the gym. Mesmerized, she steps close to the glass surface and hears a call to quiet down on the other side. At the same moment, the coach brings Uma back to the mat, where she tries to comprehend what she has heard. Maybe she has nothing to fear and the voices of the boarding house staff were behind the wall. For the next session, the girl is taken to the therapy room. The staff chained her to a seat in the shape of a carousel horse. To her bewilderment, they tie her arms and body with straps to a pipe, calling it a safety measure. The girl soars up to the ceiling on top of the horse and a projection turns on in the hall. She is shown a promotional video of her fiancé's son, in which he speaks with pathos about his virtues and accomplishments and boasts of his excellent physical form. Uma can hardly stand watching the video, but after a short pause, the clip comes on again. Unable to escape or cover her ears, the girl is forced to watch time after time propagandistic footage praising a man she dislikes. After an indefinite period of time, the staff brings Uma down, calling what happened a technical error. All this agonizing time, the girl clenched her hands violently and left her palms with scratches from her fingernails. Uma runs out of the hall in fury and bumps into the Duchess, nestled among the roses on the stairs. The girl wants to vent her frustration on the headmistress, but the woman again comforts her with her kindness and concern. Having treated her wounds, she asks Uma to be gentler to her future groom. However, the girl admits that she cannot be with him because she has long been in love with another boy. Even her mother does not know of his existence because he is from a lower class. The Duchess tells Uma about her poor childhood, in which she had to tend her mother's little garden. If the girl agrees to marry, she will spend her life in affluence and luxury and never repeat the fate of the unprivileged. Uma looks at the Duchess with concern, realizing that behind her feigned politeness she hides a tragic past. The headmistress realizes that she has shown weakness and reverts to her former perfect image. The next day, Uma tells her neighbors about what happened in the therapy room. She admits that their family is bankrupt and that marrying son is the only chance they have of maintaining their position in society. Chloe was shown a health video that was supposed to motivate her to lose weight sooner. Yu also finally decides to open up to the other girls. She comes from an inferior family, but her parents put her in foster care with an aunt and uncle from an upper-class family. Finding herself in an unfamiliar world of wealth, the girl did not know how to behave and she began having panic attacks. She became a burden to her relatives, so they sent her to the treatment center for re-education. Her friends support Yu and let her know that from now on her stay at the boarding center will not be a torment. Gradually, the girls get used to life on the island. They spend hours together walking around the incredibly beautiful grounds, sharing stories from their lives, exercising, and helping each other with their makeup. Warm feelings develop between Amarna and Uma. In a therapy session with the Duchess, the girls share their innermost memories. Amarna's mother rarely appeared in the girl's life and was not serious about her singing career. One day, at the height of her daughter's success, she reappeared in her life and offered her to go away with her. When her daughter refused, the woman supported her wish at first, but soon disappeared from her life again. Uma recalls being on vacation with her mother and nearly being swept away by the current. The girl was terrified that she might lose another loved one, but all ended well. That day Uma told her mother for the last time that she loved her. After that, it was as if a wall of misunderstanding and resentment had grown between them. Picking wreaths of roses in the garden, the four best friends fantasize about what they will do after they finish their therapeutic course. Amarna says she wants to get away from her hometown and fame and start a new life where no one knows her. Uma, on the other hand, wants to spend her ordinary life with her lover, which upsets Amarna a bit. To smooth over the awkward situation between the girls, Chloe asks Uma to tell her about her amulet. The jewel is the prototype of the memory lockets her father created. When she opens it, she shows her friends a lively picture from her childhood, with her father happily embracing her. Suddenly, Uma notices her lover, Marcus, dressed in a gardener's costume among the bushes. Not believing her happiness, the girl runs into his arms. When they are alone in a secluded spot, the boy recounts his journey. After Uma disappeared, he went to her mother and she lied that her daughter was busy preparing for her wedding to son. Realizing this was a lie, he took a job at Paradise to get his beloved off the island. Unable to contain their feelings, the couple retreats to the staff room, where Marcus uses a remote control to disable the security camera. The young man tells Uma of his plan to get a job as a loader to sneak her onto a cargo plane and drop her off on the mainland. Although Marcus has no concrete plans for the future, the girl wants to live the rest of her life with him and agrees to escape. They kiss and have fun. Through a crevice in the wall, Amarna sees this and a tear rolls down her cheek. Later, the girls gather at a musical evening, where the boarding house's residents perform. Uma tells her friends about Marcus' romantic act, which causes admiration among her neighbors. Amarna is the only one who is not happy about the appearance of the outsider and asks her friend not to trust him. An argument arises between the girls, but it is interrupted by the host calling Amarna to the stage. The girl sings a heartfelt romantic a cappella song and keeps looking in Uma's direction. Her musical declaration of feelings is interrupted by the presenter, forcing Amarna off the stage. It becomes clear that the record label sent the young singer to the island to correct her love orientation, which did not match the pop star's image. Confused about her feelings, Uma goes through memories of her father before going to bed. Waking up in the morning, the girl is horrified to discover that her locket is missing. Suddenly, the alarm sounds on the boarding house grounds and a man's voice tells the guards that an unknown man has broken onto the grounds. While all the guards are sent off in pursuit of the intruder, the girls are insistently asked to remain calm and mind their own business. The four friends disobey the order and gather on the balcony to follow what is happening. Meanwhile, the intruder's boat is visible on the horizon not far from the shore. The girls are discovered by the Duchess, enraged by this morning's events. Uma tries to question her about the intruder, but the woman drags her violently back to her room. Yu stands up for her friend and pushes the headmistress lightly so that she will let Uma go. The mask of politeness finally falls from the Duchess and she forcefully pushes the girl against the wall. She threatens to send her back to her family, where she will remain a useless loser. At the sound of the Duchess' voice, the windows begin to crack and the frightened girls ask her to stop. She comes to her senses and speaks to them again in an affectionate tone, apologizing for what has happened. The boarding house residents gather near the shore, watching the intruder being apprehended. He is thought to be an obsessed fan of Amarna, who has tracked down her whereabouts and sought to meet her. Seizing the moment, the singer takes Uma to their secret cave, where she shows a small hidden boat. The intruder turns out to be one of the boarding house employees, who has agreed to help Amarna in exchange for concert tickets for his daughter. Leaving the boat in hiding, he deliberately swam near the shore all night, checking the island's security system. This is how he managed to find out that no one guards the shore at night. Amarna tells Uma that last night she did not drink milk before going to bed, and for the first time during her stay at the boarding house she did not sleep at night. The girl guesses that the staff is drugging them to keep them from trying to escape, but the staff themselves stay up at night and sneak into the girls' rooms. Amarna gives Uma back her locket and offers to run away with her that night. The confused girl tries to comprehend what she has heard. Despite her friend's warnings, she decides to warn Marcus about escaping. Amarna understands that her beloved's heart belongs to another and cannot defy her. At the meeting, Marcus informs Uma that he is already close to the freighter and they can escape in a few weeks. The girl realizes that staying at the boarding house is dangerous and tells him about the secret escape plan. During dinner, the friends conspire, ready to put their plan into action. Suddenly, one of the staff taps his glass, drawing the attention of the guests. He informs the audience that Amarna has proven to be the most diligent student of all and is ready to graduate early from the boarding school. After a burst of applause, the girls are handed cups of milk. Under the gaze of the staff, the friends pretend to consume the drink and then spit it out in the restroom. Amarna convinces Uma that she must leave on a boat with Marcus that very night. She leaves her hairpin as a souvenir, which conceals a map of the place she plans to escape to. Uma promises to find it, after which the girls kiss goodbye. At night, the girl tries to sneak out of the building. She witnesses the staff carrying the girls who fell asleep in various places after taking the sedative to their rooms. In the corridor, Uma notices many surveillance cameras and realizes that she will not be able to leave unnoticed. When she hears footsteps approaching, she falls to the floor and also pretends to be asleep. Finding Uma, one of the staff members asks if she should be taken to the operating room. His partner replies that it is not her turn today. The next morning, Uma looks pensively at her reflection in the mirror, remembering what happened during the night. Later, the attendants escort her to the therapy room and put her back on the horse. This time, however, she is not shown sun, but a video sequence of events from her childhood. With tears in her eyes, she is immersed in the past, where her happy parents teach her how to ride a bicycle, do her homework and celebrate family holidays. Suddenly the warm picture is replaced by footage of her father's lifeless arm dangling from the bathtub. A news anchor talks about the passing of a great inventor who has decided to leave this world after losing his business. Uma sees her father's funeral and her own lost and frightened face. One of the reports tells her that Sun is somehow complicit in the unlawful takeover of the company. Uma becomes hysterical and demands that the clip be stopped immediately. She screams and aggressively fights back against the staff, accusing them of lying. Yu tries to defend her friend, but she too is detained by a staff member. Uma looks at Marcus in hope, desperately pleading for his help, but the guy idly observes what is going on, and then continues to cut bushes. The girl is locked in the same room she woke up in on her first day on the island. In the evening, the staff brings her a modest dinner and a cup of milk. Uma angrily kicks the tray of food, but a voice from the bronze flower insists that she drink the milk. The girl reluctantly obeys and instantly falls asleep. In the morning, her chaperones forcefully bring her into the Duchess' office, where she sees a video of Amarna. On the screen, the girl is glowing with happiness and posing for the cameras with her famous boyfriend. Uma begins to cry, refusing to believe that her friend has betrayed her dreams. The Duchess puts her hand on the girl's shoulder and, out of surprise, she pushes her away. As she falls, the woman hurts her face on a cracked mirror and casts a hateful glance at her ward. The Duchess reveals that Sun has paid her a large sum of money to re-educate Uma. She also informs her that the girl has been asleep for 2 weeks and will be sent back home to her fiancé as early as tomorrow. Later, in the cave, Uma gathers her friends, who have been led to believe that she has lost her mind and has been regaining her sanity all this time. The girl tells them about Amarna, who has transformed into a completely different person since her departure. To avoid being brainwashed, Uma intends to escape from the island at night and suggests that her friends join her. The girls doubt the validity of this idea, for their parents will not accept them if they do not mend their ways. Uma advises them to start living their lives. Their parents want to make them into perfect children, but their real strength is in their individuality. Adults should not realize their unfulfilled expectations through them. After a heartfelt speech, Chloe agrees to run away with her friend. Yu is hesitant to disappoint her family, but her roommates support her choice. Uma tells Marcus about leaving the boarding house after concealing her escape. He promises he won't let anyone else separate them after they get off the island. Uma accepts his embrace by stealing the remote control that turns off the security cameras from him unnoticed. During dinner, Uma and Chloe drink milk and take turns going to the bathroom to spit it out. Watching them, Yu decides to escape after all, not wanting to change for the benefit of her relatives anymore. At night, staff members enter the friend's room and they pretend to be asleep. After checking their notes, the staff takes the bed with Yu for some kind of final procedure. Uma and Chloe jump out of their beds, intent on finding and rescuing their friend. Following the staff, they discover a secret passage behind the mermaid statue. Through a long corridor the girls get to the operating room, where the doctors discuss the further fate of Yu, who was not to survive the night. Chloe cannot silently watch what is happening and comes out of hiding, demanding that her friend be released. A fight breaks out between the girls and the medical staff, in which the boarding house girls win. They help the wounded Yu get up from the operating table and carefully put her headphones on. Trying to find a safe exit, the girls stumble upon a control room. Multiple screens show files on each of the residents. All this time the boarding house workers have been carefully studying their habits, reactions to certain events, and features of their appearance. Finding the screen with her dossier, Uma shakily clicks on the intimate relations folder. It turns out that Marcus never intended to save her. Paradise Island hired him to determine her behavior during intimate situations. This discovery breaks the girl's heart and she smashes the screen with the dossier. Hearing the guards, the girls are forced to flee again, dragging the barely alive Yu on their backs. They manage to lock themselves in a secret room with a swimming pool. Inside, they find dozens of girls with bandaged bodies and faces. The friends ask the strange girls for help, but one of the bandaged girls tells the others to call security. Enjoying the desperation of the fugitives, she tells her story. She and the other poor lower-class girls have undergone extensive plastic and cosmetic surgery and have been trained to imitate the voices and identities of the boarding house's residents. The girls remove their bandages, and Yu and Chloe are presented with their exact replicas, but in an enhanced form. The clones will be sent home in their place, where they will receive the wealth and luxury they have been deprived of all their lives. Yu's body can no longer fight the injury, and she passes away in the arms of her friends. Uma turns angrily to her clone, who hides among the bandaged girls. The girl leaves the memory locket for her replacement and tells her that she must hate Sun, who is responsible for her father's loss. Only then will her copy be able to become truly like her. Uma and Chloe are forced to move on to escape the guards. They find themselves in a garden, where they see the lifeless bodies of former Paradise residents entangled in rose thorns. Uma is horrified to see Amarna's withered body among the victims. Suddenly Chloe disappears somewhere. Following her friend's screams, Uma is horrified to see the Duchess leaning over her, sucking the girl dry. Having finished her meal, the vampiress appears before her apprentice in a dress of pink roses. Controlling the stems, she restrains Uma, intending to make her next victim. The woman reveals that she was severely criticized by her mother as a child. Holding a grudge for her past, she created the Paradise boarding school to rob the lives of naughty rich girls who do not value their high position. By feeding off their vitality, she preserves her youth and beauty. With a frantic look, the Duchess begins the process of devouring and the sharp thorns soak into Uma's skin. Suddenly her clone appears from behind the bushes, claiming that she is the real Uma. The girls confuse the Duchess so much that she fails to notice the scalpel she stole from the operating room in her ward's hand. She pierces the vampire with it and the Duchess disappears among the wilted rose bushes. The lookalikes try to leave the island, but Marcus gets on their trail. The remorseful guy lets the fugitives escape without revealing their location to the management. On the boat, Uma meets her clone, whose name is Anna. The girl lived in a very poor family and was forced to work around the clock in a factory. She agreed to become Uma's replacement in order to feed her younger brothers, though she realized it was inhumane. Anna sadly admits that she cannot go back to her old life, and then a cunning plan arises in Uma's mind. Anna returns to Uma's wealthy family and marries son, accepting the congratulations and admiration of her guests. In the meantime, the real Uma lures the groom into bed, but stabs him before they engage in their matrimonial duty. Thus, Anna remains innocent, as she was surrounded by guests at the time of the crime. Going up to the bedroom, the clone discovers the groom's breathless body. Saying goodbye to her double, Anna screams and calls for help. Now she can live a decent life as a rich widow. After avenging her father, Uma looks at Amarna's hairpin with the map hidden inside. Smiling, she hides into the night to start a new life. Have you ever met people who look exactly like you? Like this video and share your stories in the comments.